Keys are not supposed to be difficult. They are easy to manage. Your home, your flat apartment, whatever, keys your vehicle that you use for work. Keys for work, also maybe, your office. Whatever the usage, keys are supposed to make life easier, efficient. They make sense, right? Logically speaking, keys are needed in life. But the moment I have them in my bag's pockets, the one where I've kept everything organized as per my mind, they travel to lands and oceans I've never heard of. They spearhead revolutions, unlocking mysteries, getting Jung out of his pain. Shadow work. Such is their work, because I cannot find them unless I take everything out twice or thrice. Laptop, charger, phone charger, a book, pens, money, sanitary pad, lip gloss, maybe some medicine. Chances are, knowing me, I will not find them in the exact spot I kept them. I always am sure about that this is the spot I've kept the keys. It became a running joke with my colleagues at two different places, which I'm sure they'll still testify to that I and keys don't go well together. The number of times I've lost keys and we've had to make duplicate keys, and that's a process in and of itself. How have keys that hold the door answer to doors seem impossible for me to figure out? I once lost or forgot my handbag at the airport exit at Delhi, and the amount of time it took me to even discover that the bag is gone is bonkers. We sat in the cab about to leave, right next to the exit gate, when I remembered. I have had my keys distinct, esoteric, noisy, clingy clangy. But when they are lost in that realm, that is my work bag or my sling bag, they don't come out until after I have completely deflated from the effort of trying to find them. Why are keys so difficult for some of us? I wrote this mini rant when I came across this post on Instagram from this creator, and I was like, damn, I relate a little too much. But I don't like to put labels on myself without having adequate evidence. And I don't. Hi. So it turns out you cannot shame yourself into being a better version of yourself. Shame has put kinks in our brains that we need to rewire, redirect, and reconstruct. You cannot completely eliminate it. You're going to have to reform it, uh, literally change its morphology to say something else. So you're going to have to eventually confront it. And that confrontation cannot come through someone else. Even though somebody might have handed you that shame or that pain, you are the only person who's going to confront it. I read this quote about shame. Quote sums it up quite nicely as to why shame is not how you're going to be motivated to be a better person. Shame and guilt are demotivators. They are meant to stop behavior, not promote it. You cannot ever, in any meaningful way, guilt yourself into doing good or someone else into being good. You can only shame them into not being or not doing bad. I was always ashamed to take, so I gave. It was not a virtue, it was a disguise. The shame of being seen consumes me. Forgive yourself for struggling with shame, for making choices you regret, for avoiding situations you wish you hadn't. You can grow from here if you release the past from your grip and shelve it as a lesson. All lessons are in retrospect. I tried to journal on these thoughts, and I realized that each moment that you are given, each moment you have in life, it's not even given, it's just there for the human experience. Each moment is an event in and of itself. Each moment offers a respite you can feel, and you only have to access it. And you can only access it by lifting that veil of shame on everything. It sounds poetic and unrealistic, I guess. Something is stopping you from doing the things you want, doing what you feel like, doing, even though you know that you're supposed to do these things, you want to do these things. Who is defining the limitation? Whatever limitation you have set on yourself, you are the one defining that limitation. No one else can define the limitation on you. And you have the reins in your own hands, and you have to decide what it is that you want to do with it, right? That's why the brain or the mind is described as a chariot, and you have to be the one, guiding it wherever you want it to be. And that's why I think routines help. See, I like a balance of a structure and chaos. I can't handle too much of either. But habits, routines, there's sufficient evidence we have that they help you create a life in which you can practice chaos in a more useful, meaningful, creative way, as opposed to be guided by impulsivity, as opposed to the chariot take you wherever you go. You decide your day in an intentional manner, and you decide where you will decide where you're going to go, instead of the chariot taking you. I hope I'm making sense. It can be something incredibly small, although I do believe that it can feel overwhelming also, and not everybody has the means to access resources that help them to naturally eliminate their limitations, right? I read this somewhere that we are not all on the same boat, but we are not all in the same boat. We are in the same storm. Some have yachts, some have canoes, and some are drowning. Just be kind and help whenever you can. Sometimes it could be just taking a short walk, or a warm meal that you created from scratch. Maybe a video that you've been wanting to make for some while. Small steps. It can be incredibly daunting, right, to consider everything that you want to do all at once, because you want to do several things. You don't want to do one, but momentum is a beautiful thing, which you can build with a short walk that you take every day. Or maybe you decide that I'm going to drink this much water every day. Or maybe you decide that one meal per day I'm going to try to make it from scratch, and I'm going to enjoy with no devices in sight. Anything to build towards the life that you want, that you're stopping yourself from having. Once you do all that you want, all that you've ever wanted to do, and you do it enough times, your brain rewires itself. New neural pathways are created specifically for reminding you of not letting the shame stick to you. Initially, first few steps you take, even with the shame, when you've lost the momentum and you're trying to get it back, it's hard to get back on track. So initially, the first few steps you can still take with your feet dragged with shame behind you. It's okay. But with time, and as your perspective shifts, you will realize that what was once very difficult has become somewhat less difficult, and that minuscule difference is how you build momentum.